Kurt and I began this little adventure a couple years ago filming. I had purchased a camera, nothing near the quality that we're running now. More or less to give some stands a rest on the property that we hunt and bond a little bit more as brothers. Back in high school and college, Kurt and I really didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things or do a lot of things, even though we are only a year apart. You know, he had his own niche friends, I had my own, and stuff like that. But the neat thing about hunting and with this filming aspect is it really brought us closer once we got out of college, and that kind of transpired into this new adventure with the Breaking Point, and that bond has definitely grown.
Just spending time with Kyle in a tree is just something that most brothers probably don't have. When Kyle and I were growing up, we were polar opposites of each other, kind of had different friends, didn't really do much together, and ever since we graduated college and kind of grew up, if you want to say that. I mean, once fall rolls around and even through the summer and everything, we're pretty much inseparable, always calling each other, texting each other. I'm sure our wives get sick of hearing about the different deer that we see.
The 2013 season for Kurt and I kicked off around middle of June when we partnered up with Antler King. Try to figure out what the weather's doing with our spring food plots, our fall food plots, whether we were going to plant annuals, perennials, and stuff like that. And with Wisconsin weather, it was really unpredictable this year. Kurt and I have a rather ambitious plan today. We have a fall food plot here. It's approximately 40 yards long by 15 yards wide. Then we're going to extend the food plot down another 10 to 12 yards, push this brush back off with a tractor, do a little bit of hinge cutting, which will benefit the food plot and us for observation, and then open up the canopy to get a little bit more sun down here. Kurt and I got the dam built up here for the pond, and now the work starts. We have to spread a ton of lime by hand with just shovels. We'll use a 2-bottom plow it under, disc it under, and then we have a little bit of work to do with the berm yet, and we have a pull saw to trim up a couple of these overhanging limbs.
Farming is our life.
Hunting is our life passion.
We know that in both, it's what's planted in the ground first that matters.
And that's why we choose Antler King food plot mixes.
Our results speak for themselves.
Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer.
Hey, T-Bone here. Let's talk about expandable broadheads. 2-inch 2-blade expandables only have a 2.5-inch cutting surface and are actually more like a sliver. G5's T3 all steel big cut expandable has a whopping 3 inches of cutting surface. 3 blades produce 3 independent flaps, creating a big old chunk. So, do you want a sliver or a T3 chunk?
Due to our booked hunt that we had out in Montana, and the time that we had off, we had to get those food plots in, and with it being so dry, some of those we had to get in a little bit before we wanted to. So leading up into September, packed up. Kurt was working the night before, as well as myself. The anticipation was really high. We were really excited about getting out there.
Season opened a couple days ago in Montana, and we're gonna get out there. It looks like the weather's gonna be nice, and hopefully the bulls are screaming when we get out there, and we'll see what happens. Well, we made it out to southwest Montana late, or early this morning, I guess you could say, about 2 o'clock in the morning local time here. Slept in the truck for a couple hours. We're gonna go talk to one of my dad's friends that he met when he was out here about 25 years ago hunting, talk with him, get the lowdown on the area we're going, go out, set up camp, do a little scouting tonight, and then come back into town and talk to another guy here about what he's been seeing for elk, and then hit it hard in the morning tomorrow and hopefully lay something down on film for a kill. The weather out here is dropped substantially. It was about 95 degrees when we left home, and this morning it's about 45 degrees here, so hopefully that'll get the elk up and moving. It sounds like it's gonna be about 105 back at home today, so we'll take the 60-degree temperature difference.
Here it is, September 9th. Kurt and I are out just in plain clothes, not in our hunting attire, trying to listen for bulls for tomorrow morning's hunt. We have a couple bulls that we've heard bugle now in the last half hour, probably within 2 miles of us. And this is the block of timber that we're going to try out in the morning. So we're going to just hold tight here for another 15-20 minutes and see if they continue to bugle and what else responds to them. Been out since daybreak. We brought the ATV in about 40 minutes up into this drainage. Been slowly hunting all morning. We've covered a few miles. No bulls talking, no cows talking. We started to hit some elk sign here the last mile and a half, but starting to run into some private property and still no elk or anything like that, so kind of formulated a game plan. We're gonna head back up the drainage here, hit a path, cut back down to the ATV, and head down the mountain range a few miles tonight and give that a shot to another area that we were told may produce something.
Up about another 40 yards, and I think we can see down into the bottom. It's nice soft marsh. It could take us 20 minutes, half hour to get that far, but we're gonna take it nice and slow. I think if we get up to the dead tree up there.
The word is out. The Red Revolution is changing hunting. The most advanced hunting arrow ever. Maxima Red from Carbon Express. The only arrow engineered to contain and control the enemy of accuracy. Dynamic spine to the red zone. Maxima Red is a game changer. The Reds are legit, period. Ready to raise your game? Join the Maxima Red Revolution and shoot better. Carbon Express.
The spin and strut works better than other strutting decoys because it triggers a dominant genetic response. We get a gobbler's attention by calling as a hen. When the gobbler sees the natural motion of the spin and strut strutting in front of a hen, his response changes from curious and cautious to one of exerting his dominance over this intruder. This genetic response will stop hang-ups and can bring gobblers in from long distances. Even call-shy birds will respond. So if you want the original lifelike motion decoy, get a spin and strut.
Well, we've been sitting up here glassing this hillside, and 5 cows came up over the hill. There's a nice 6x6 that came behind them. They're across the hillside and just went into some timber. There's a drainage that goes down both sides of it. We just want to see them come out of the timber and see which way they're going. We got a real active wallow down in the bottom, so we're kind of figuring that's where they're going, but we don't want to pile down in there and then go over the other side. We can see them from up here, and once they start moving, we'll be able to get down to that wallow before they get there.
With a few sightings under our belt, a few encounters with bears through the week, and a few moves to mule deer was really exciting. We ended up ending our last day getting on a few bulls bugling early morning. They're working up the draw towards us, and as we were trying to circle around on them, several cows busted out of some dark timber. We believe that some other hunters spooked them, and the valley that we were in just erupted, and that was kind of the last blow for us. Wasn't really how we wanted to end that final day, but Kurt and I were confident that if we make it back out there, we can certainly build upon what we learned, and excited to come back to Wisconsin.
It was a very humbling experience, and it was nice to be able to know that we were coming back to Wisconsin, to someplace that we knew what we were doing and felt comfortable on our home turf.
Finally made it into the stand. Took our time getting in here. We didn't spook any deer that we heard run off or anything, so I think that they're still up in the feed fields. What we have here is we've got a Antler King slam dunk food plot down here in front of us, and these 3 valleys kind of come together right here. To our south down here we got corn, and then back up to the north we got a cornfield on top, and then this nice little bottom here. And they logged off the valley to the south of us about 4 years ago. So that's really thick, so hopefully the does are hunkered in there and these bucks will just get up and cruise and look for them. So hopefully we're in for a good sit today. Saw a lot of movement. 9 different bucks and 1 doe. So we're just gonna start packing up here. Kurt's gonna hunt in the morning. We have a different guy filming for him since I work tonight. Now that's still windy too. It's nice where we can ease on out of here and hopefully not bump anything out.
We've been farming all of our lives.
We work hard so we can enjoy hunting.
With Antler King products, we know our whitetails are getting the vitamins and minerals they need to remain healthy and grow bigger antlers.
It's clear we've made the right choice.
Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer.
From online to your living room and everywhere in between, Carbon TV has all of your favorite outdoor shows, anywhere, anytime. Register now for your free account at carbontv.com.
So we had that sit on November 3rd where the Crazy 8 came by. Went back home and watched the footage, and Kyle and I both decided that the deer was 4.5, and looking at the trail cam pics from the year before and this year, the deer had grown maybe 3, 4, 5 inches of antler. Didn't change anything. Didn't think he was ever going to straighten it out, and it was a nice, healthy, mature looking deer, so we decided that he definitely was one that we would harvest if we had a chance. Kyle and I had gone out on November 9th and sat in a stand, and it was a stand we had hung for 5-6 years. It had been in the same tree, and we thought it was in the right spot, and had a buck come through, big 9-pointer that we grunted at, and it was blowing about 30-35 mile an hour winds, and he never heard us and just went down in the valley. And we decided right then that we were going to move that stand. So November 9th at about 9 in the morning, Kyle and I are taking a stand down.
We're doing something that every professional hunter does on November 9th, moving a set. I've had a set up on this ridge for 5 years now, and for the last 2 we've been saying we needed to move it over here. Never have. And had a real nice 10-pointer come by. Nice shooter buck. Also had a shooter buck last week. Walk a trail 10 yards in this tree. So we're gonna go up it. When we were taking the stand down, we saw I had a doe come through, so they're still moving.
So the next morning, Kyle was gracious enough to let me hunt again. We usually try to switch every other day, or depending on the wind, we kind of have who stands. We hunt each other's stands, but just with the wind, he was gracious enough to let me hunt again. We got in the stand, and at about 6:45 in the morning, Kyle tapped me on the shoulder and said there was a buck coming. It was a shooter, and you hear your cameraman tell you that there's a shooter coming, instantly your heart rate goes up, and I turned and looked over my left shoulder, and 40 yards away, walking right to us, is a Crazy 8.
That was the Crazy 8. Hit him a little high. It looked like I got real good penetration in. Hopefully I hit the top of that one lung and got into the other one. He busted down the hill and he stopped right here. So hopefully he just beds up. We're gonna give him an hour or two before we even get out of this stand. Hopefully he beds right there and dies right there. That's one of the bucks we came in to hunt. Whew, that happened fast. It's about 10:30. Kyle and I did the old switcheroo. He ran back to the house and got his bow, climbed up the tree. Been sitting for about 3 hours after I killed my buck. When Kyle was walking in, he could see him laying on the hillside over there. So we did have a buck down in the bottom here below us that was growling, chasing some does around, and had a spike bump a doe through. Haven't seen any movement in the last hour and a half or so. I think we're gonna get down, go get my buck.
6:45 this morning, had this buck come in. We call him the Crazy 8. This buck and that 9-pointer we saw yesterday were actually the two bucks we were going in to harvest. Just so happened that this was the first deer that came by. Made a nice 8-yard shot on him, ran about 60 yards, bedded down, and didn't make it up out of his bed. All in all, a great hunt this morning. Kyle got down out of the tree first and actually looked over, and I saw him pick up his binoculars and look over where the deer was laying, and he put his binoculars down and looked up the tree and just looked white as a ghost and motioned that the deer was gone. I went from the highest of highs right there to the lowest of lows, kind of put my head down, and as I put my head down, I saw Kyle standing at the base of the tree laughing at me. He was just pulling my leg that the deer was gone. I mean, the Crazy 8 didn't go anywhere. He laid right down. That arrow had gone all the way through actually and took the top of one lung and actually got down into the heart. So not a great shot, not a shot that I want to take ever again or have happen, but one of the fortunate things of shooting a good heavy broadhead and a nice solid arrow too.
When Kurt ended up releasing the arrow on that deer, I don't know, it seemed like all my emotion also went with his arrow, as well as I'm sure his did. You know, you go from some of the lowest of lows to the highest of highs, and we definitely ended that morning on one of the highest of highs, or I know I did, watching Kurt harvest that deer. You get that weight in the room off your shoulders. Once you get one on the ground, you get that confidence back, and I was certainly ready to roll into the next few days hunting hard with me in front of the camera. And sharing it with my brother was something I'll definitely never forget.
What can I say here, Mike? Well, take two. Well, it's... Take two. Take two. Straight in the middle. Gotta roll.
You want to go with that flat top gangster look?
You want to go to Minnesota. So you want to get on your
west, young man.
West. Head west the whole way.